Life without limits. How often do we live our lives trapped by the limits of what we think we are or what we've been told we are by other people, society, or media? We are often boxed in, unaware of the potential beyond those walls. In this way, limits can become an invisible prison that prevents us from ever realizing our true potential. At the Zero State of Mind, we are about breaking those barriers and uncovering the truth about who we really are. Get ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about limits in this multi-part series. Let's get into it. From the moment we're born, we're taught certain things about who we are and what we're capable of. It starts with the simple things. You're a fast learner, or math is not your strength. As we grow older, these little statements, whether they come from our parents, teachers, or society at large, begin to shape the way we see ourselves. We create a mental map of what we can do and what we can't, and this map becomes our reality. Think about it for a second. Have you ever caught yourself saying something like, "I could never do that," or "I'm not smart enough for that"? Those statements didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They're based on years of absorbing subtle messages from your environment, even if you don't realize it. The problem is, these limits are often not true. Our brain loves familiarity. It loves to stay within the boundaries of known limits. Or this is the comfort zone. And our tendency to gravitate toward it is really just confirmation bias. But the fact is, your comfort zone is not where you tend to thrive or grow. The analyzing ego mind's job is to protect you, and sometimes that means it convinces you that certain paths are closed off. It uses your past failures or perceived limits as evidence to keep you from taking risks. While this might keep you safe from disappointment, rejection, or failure in the short term, it can severely limit your growth, potential, and happiness over the long term. Living within the confines of what you are conditioned to believe you are, or worse, what others define you as, leads to stagnation and unrealized potential. Labels are incredibly powerful. They can define who you are, how you act, and how others perceive you. From a young age, we're given labels like smart, lazy, creative, shy, or even troublemaker. Some labels might seem harmless, but over time they become part of our identity. We internalize them, and they shape our actions and beliefs. They become, almost literally, spells that we cast on ourselves and each other. Imagine you were always told you were bad at sports. Even if that was true when you were 10 years old, as an adult, you might avoid any physical activity, never pushing yourself because that label stuck. It's not about whether the label was accurate, it's about how it shaped your behavior and even your sense of self. Similarly, when society labels someone as not cut out for leadership, too old to learn new things, or not creative enough, it reinforces limits that are hard to shake off. And it's not just personal labels. We see societal norms and expectations creating boundaries for entire groups of people, whether it's based on gender, race, or socioeconomic status. But the truth is, you are more than the labels you've been given. The problem is, many of us don't question these labels. We often accept them as the truth, and we let them govern our lives. By doing this, we place unnecessary limits on ourselves. So how do we break free from this cycle of living within our perceived limits? The first step is awareness. We need to recognize the moments when we're letting these invisible boundaries control our decisions. The next time you think to yourself, "I'm not good enough," or "that's out of my reach," stop and ask, where did that belief come from? Was it something someone told me years ago? Was it based on a past experience where I failed? In this way, we challenge these limiting beliefs and labels. Ask yourself, what would happen if I tried anyway? What's the worst that could happen? More often than not, the worst-case scenario is far less dire than we imagine, and the rewards are far greater than we might expect. Another powerful tool is visualization. Athletes use this all the time. They visualize themselves succeeding at a task over and over again. This trains their brain to believe it is possible. You can do the same. If you've always thought you're bad at public speaking, start visualizing yourself giving a great speech in front of a crowd. The more you do it, the more your brain starts to accept that reality as possible. But it's not just your internal monologue that holds you back. Society plays a huge role in creating these limits. Think about how many decisions we make based on what society expects of us. We follow a certain path because it is considered normal. Go to school, get a job, settle down, buy a house, and retire. There's nothing wrong with that path, but is it the path you truly want? Or is it just the one you've been conditioned to believe is the right one? Society often discourages risk or deviation from the status quo. It tells you to play it safe, to follow the rules, to fit the mold, and not aim too high. But if the most highly successful people followed that advice, would they have achieved greatness? When you live according to societal expectations, you might be living someone else's version of life rather than your own. It's important to define what your success looks like. Maybe it's not about climbing the corporate ladder. Maybe it's about pursuing art, traveling the world, or building a small business. Whatever it is, it's your choice, not society's. Breaking free from the limits of what we think we are and what we've been told we are is not easy. It requires a shift in mindset, a willingness to embrace discomfort, and the courage to take risks, but it's possible. Every day, people all over the world challenge their perceived limits and break through barriers they once thought were impenetrable. It's important to remember that growth happens outside your comfort zone. Whether it's learning a new skill, pursuing a passion, or simply taking a risk that scares you, the only way to expand your life is by challenging those limits. You're not confined to the box that society or the limiting belief monster inside your head has put you in. You have the power to redefine yourself at any moment. You're not the person you were 5 years ago, and you won't be the same person 5 years from now. The question is, will you let limiting beliefs, labels, or expectations hold you back, or will you step into your true power? So, in conclusion, what's holding you back? Is it a belief that you're not good enough, smart enough, or strong enough? Or is it the expectations of society telling you what you should be? Whatever it is, remember that your mind allows it. You have the power to break free of them at any time. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to think about one limit you've placed on yourself and then challenge it. We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments what limits you plan to overcome. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more empowering content. Thanks for watching, and remember, your potential is limitless.